All praises, all praises, all praises to the heavenly, holy, almighty creator of infinity, eternity, the universe, and all there is. This is Revelations.Unveiled. Detroit. Hello, family. We are back together again, convening and converging, convocating and congregating. We are back again to review the holy hidden history of the hidden and holy people, and to the scattered tribes of the house of Israel, as well as the brothers and sisters of the world, the pending Israelites. My continuous petitions in prayer for your care, safety, concern, harmony, and joy. And tonight, family, we are reviewing the wonderful history of the Maccabees, of the Apocryphal text. And this reading was inspired by conversations once again with my Christian brothers and sisters as we were deliberating over the divine and holy word. And so, within this review of history, we will be spotlighting the Greek captivity, which was not outlined in the 66 books of the Standard Holy Bible. This is a set of history, a part of the Apocryphal text that was removed by the Protestant Church. These set of books, the 14 lost books, provides wonderful clarity of history, detailing and expansion on prophecy, as well as filling in those blanks of darkness of the hidden history of the holy people. And so, family, we shall immediately begin our wonderful reading and review of the majestic Maccabees. And so we begin. The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 1. And it happened after that, Alexander, son of Philip of Macedonia, who came out of the land of Chedda, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, and he reigned in his stead, the first over the Greeks. And so, family, that is, of course, the historical figure, Alexander the Greek. And so, and made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth, and went through to the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up. And he gathered a mighty strong host, and ruled over countries and nations and kings, and who became tributaries unto him. So Alexander the Greek consolidated many lands and tongues and nations, family, and made them all pay taxes to him. And after these things, he fell sick and perceived that he should die. Whereupon he called his servants, such as were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. So Alexander reigned 12 years, and then died. And his servants bare rule, every one in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons, and after them many years. And evils were multiplied in the earth. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been an hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen. Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. All right, family, so we see back in our original homeland, some wicked brothers got on the pedestal and persuaded the crowd that they should join themselves to the heathens due to the downfall or the famine or the hard times within the Holy Land. Then certain of these people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem, according to the customs of the heathen, and made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief. All right, family, so within this Greek kingdom or captivity, as it were, the men of Jerusalem petitioned the king of the heathens so that they could then follow the ordinances and be joined back into the customs of the heathen. And they became uncircumcised, both of heart, of the holy law, and of body, the covenant established with Abraham. And so these men have forsaken the holy covenant as established by the holy Creator and the nation of the 12 tribes of Israel. Verse 16. Now when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he thought to reign over Egypt, that he might have the dominion of 2 realms. Wherefore he entered into Egypt with a great multitude, with chariots and elephants and horsemen, and a great navy, and made war against Ptolemy, king of Egypt. But Ptolemy was afraid. He was afraid of him, and fled, and many were wounded to death. Thus they got the strong cities in the land of Egypt, and he took the spoils thereof. And after that Antiochus had smitten Egypt, he returned again in the 143rd year, and went up against Israel and Jerusalem with a great multitude. So in the 143rd year of the Greek kingdom per se, they invaded our holy land of Israel with a great multitude. Verse 21, and they entered proudly into the sanctuary, and took away the golden altar, and the candlestick of light, and all the vessels thereof, and the table of the showbread, and the pouring vessels, and the vials, and the censers of gold, and the veil, and the crown, and the golden ornaments that were before the temple, all which he pulled off. He took also the silver and the gold and the precious vessels. Also he took the hidden treasure which he found. And when he had taken all away, he went into his own land, having made a great massacre and spoken very proudly. Therefore there was a great mourning in Israel, in every place where they were, so that the princes and elders mourned. The virgins and young men were made feeble, and the beauty of women was changed. Every bridegroom took up lamentation, and she that sat in the marriage chamber was in heaviness. The land also was moved for the inhabitants thereof, and all of the house of Jacob was covered with confusion. And after 2 years fully expired, the king sent his chief collector of tribute unto the cities of Judah, who came unto Jerusalem with a great multitude, and spake peaceable words unto them. But all was deceit. For when they had given him credence, he fell suddenly upon the city, and smote it very sore, and destroyed much people of Israel. And when he had taken the spoils of the city, he set it on fire, and pulled down the houses and walls thereof on every side. But the women and children took they captive, and possessed the cattle. So they invaded the Holy Land again, family, and destroyed many of the brothers and sisters, and destroyed the land and the homes, and took the women and children into slavery. Then builded they the city of David with a great and strong wall, and with mighty towers, and made it a strong hold for them. And they put therein a sinful nation, wicked men, and fortified themselves therein. They stored it also with armor and victuals. When they had gathered together the spoils of Jerusalem, they laid them up there, and so they became a sore snare. For it was a place to lie wait against the sanctuary, and an evil adversary to Israel. Thus they shed innocent blood on every side of the sanctuary, and defiled it, insomuch that the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled because of them. Whereupon the city was made an habitation of strangers, and became strange to those that were born in her, and her own children left her. Her sanctuaries was laid waste like a wilderness. Her feasts were turned into mourning, her Sabbaths into reproach, her honor into contempt. As it had been her glory, so was her dishonor increased, and in her excellency was turned into mourning. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yeah, many of the Israelites consented to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols, and sacrificed unto idols, and profaned the Sabbath. So family, the Greek king Antiochus has consolidated his kingdom and has made all one party, and has told all the various nations to give up their laws and consent to his ordinances. And so did the holy people. They consented to the decrees of the king and became idolaters and spiritual fornicators against the covenant. Verse 44. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land, and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days, and pollute the sanctuary and holy people, and set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts. Wow, family. So we really got turned out in this captivity. We are in total wickedness against the covenant. That they should also leave their children uncircumcised, and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, to the end that they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. And whoso would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die. In the selfsame manner wrote he to all his kingdom, and appointed overseers over all the people, commanding the cities of Judah to sacrifice, city by city. Then many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit, every one that forsook the law, so that they committed evils in the land, and drove the Israelites into secret places, even whosoever they could flee to succor, or for safety. Now, the 15th day of the month of Caslu, in the 145th year, they set up the abomination of desolation upon the altar, and builded idols and altars throughout the cities of Judah on every side, and burnt incenses at the door of their houses and in the streets. And when they had rent in pieces the books of the law which they found, they burned them with fire. Oh, family. So they were taking the holy word of the Creator, abandoning it and the laws, and then they were burning the word. And whosoever was found with any book of the testament, or if any committed to the law, the king's commandment was that they should put him to death. Thus did they by their authority unto the Israelites every month, to as many as were found in the cities. Now the 25th day of the month, they did sacrifice upon the idol altar, which was upon the altar of God, at which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women who had caused their children to be circumcised, and they hanged the infants about their necks, and rifled their houses, and slew them that had circumcised them. Howbeit, many in Israel were fully resolved and confirmed in themselves not to eat any unclean thing. Wherefore they rather to die, that they might not be defiled with meats, and that they might not profane the holy covenant. So then they died. Verse 64. And there was a great wrath upon Israel. All praises, family. And that was the reading of the book of 1 Maccabees chapter 1. And that will set up this continuing series of what occurred to us within the Greek captivity, started by Alexander the Greek, and now is being headed by Antiochus Epiphanes. And so, when we review the Holy History in the Standard 66 books, we happen upon the Holy Brother Prophet Daniel, and within his testimony, he outlined the great statue of Nebuchadnezzar and the 4 great kingdoms or empires that would exist from his time until the return of Christ. And in this series, we will be reviewing the Greek captivity, or the goat of the Daniel prophecy, or the, bronze thighs of the statue of Nebuchadnezzar. And so, family, we shall return. We shall be together in safety, comfort, joy, education, and edification of the nation. And so, until we are together again, I love you. I love you. I love you. This is Revelations.Unveiled.Detroit.